Welcome to Gracefully Imperfect, a podcast for the all-encompassing Black man, the professional, the entrepreneur, the student, the family man, the father, and the everyday survivor. I'm your host, Semantic 7. And on this journey together, we will discuss all things related to fatherhood and parenting, morality and ethics, striving to become mentally healthy, our role within our households and our family, health and fitness, and I dare not to forget, there will be a lot of sharing of our personal developmental stories that have shaped us to who we are today. So let's go on this journey together and center our consciousness, relax our mind. Off we go to the depths below.
Peace, love, blessings, and abundance to all of you. We are back. Yes, we are back. Thank you all for tuning in for another episode of Gracefully Imperfect. And I am extremely grateful for all of you who have tuned in on your first episode or have been following this podcast since its beginning. Out of the thousands of podcasts that's on your listening platform, you have chosen this one. And I know that's not an easy task with so many options and so many choices that we make in a day. But for that, I am grateful and I am thankful that you have trusted me and trusted this platform to listen to it, hopefully subscribe to it, and take in the message. For all those who have not been following the podcast or even my Instagram, I have just wrote a book called The Depths Below. I'm so excited that this book has finally came to fruition. I published on Juneteenth, and then subsequently I did a IG live for the very first time. Intimidating. It's very intimidating. I think I was thinking too much about it. But as I got on the live and started talking and sharing my narrative and interweaving different stories and life lessons, different experiences that contribute to the book and the artistry and the writing, I started feeling very comfortable. And so I think IG Lives are something that I may want to continue to implement on a regular basis. But I'll make sure that I provide the link to that with this podcast, just with, and in conjunction with all the other links that would take you to the website, to where to purchase the book, to the Instagram, to the email, all those things so we can connect wholeheartedly and with intention. Also, I want to kind of preface any of you who are listening that this Friday is going to be a special episode. I was blessed and honored to do an interview with one of my favorite people, my cousin, an artist, a musician, a visionary, a talented individual with a keen eye. We did an interview yesterday about the creative space, the creative journey, and can't wait to share that with all of you this Friday. So stay tuned. Today, though, it's Poetic Prose Monday. And I know what you're saying. It's not Monday over here. It's a different day. And that's fine. That is fine. Poetic Prose Monday is to give you the necessary juice, nourishment that you need to go about your week. That's why I like to, and everybody needs a little bit of juice and nourishment on a Monday when you're coming fresh off the weekend and you're going back into the workplace, or you're going to school, or you're getting back on your entrepreneurial grind, or even getting back on the grind and the hustle for being at home and making sure that every aspect of home life is organized, put together, intact. So that's why I like to call it Poetic Prose Monday. Something that can feed your spirit and your soul as the days go by. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you all a personal piece of mine that I actually wrote almost a year ago. About 4 or 5 months ago. And it's reflective on the current conditions of the world, the current state of affairs, something that's globally and domestically impacting all of us in some kind of way. It may not be as drastic and as extreme for the next person, but we are feeling all of this change and unstableness. So I'm excited about sharing this poem with all of you. And I hope that as I am sharing, that the words are circulating your mind and touching the core of your essence, making you think vivid thoughts, making you see yourself in a reflective mirror. And that this piece can be something that can nourish your soul, provide you some clarity, provide you understanding, show that you are not alone on this odyssey, on this odyssey through living human experiences. And that we can look at each other and stand with each other and communicate with each other with cooperation and in solidarity. This poem is called Scarcity in the City. Gas prices are steady rising higher than it's ever before. The rich stay rich, but the middle class mingles with the poor. It's a catastrophe traveling outside city limits for Whole Foods or organic stores. Desperation infiltrates the streets, leaving families with limited options to level the score. Fast food galore, saturated fats aim to please, It's a shame that city dwellers can get a double cheese with ease, a likely prognosis for diabetes and heart disease. Underpaid and overworked nurses are left to assist and serve the victims of municipal neglect and perennial financial distress. The heavy burden of the marginalized are reminded to shut up, cope, and say less, while the privileged invest in neglected neighborhoods succumb to infest. Air pollution is in the backdrop, damaging immunity systems after every ingest. Vulnerability entices survivability, informing the very methods and techniques to improve quality of life. The outside world sees crime and criminality, while survivors negate an earth-shattering finality. Scarcity in the city. And so, as I'm thinking about this, we're in this current state of inflation. You listen to some economic professionals, economist, I think that's what you call them, economist. If you listen to some, or even just some financial planners, professionals, advisors, individuals who keep their eye on the market. What you'll hear is we're on the brink of a recession. Some will say we're already in a recession. Some say a recession is on the horizon. But the precursor to any recession is hyperinflation. And so the hyperinflation has affected all of us, whether it's our fixed bills, whether it's our variable and discretionary expenses, childcare, home care, housing, gas, food and groceries, fun and entertainment, public transportation, Netflix. I know y'all see the Netflix prices. It's outrageous. Gas and electric. All these things are increasing. All these things are increasing, even gym memberships. And so we are living in a time where the demand for more money for all of these different things that we have commitments to causes more stress and tension in our lives, in our households, within our families. But there's something that I want to highlight that makes this situation a little bit more clear. You have certain neighborhoods and communities within the United States that have been living like this prior to the declared inflation or declared economic recession. And these places are your urban environments, your projects, your ghettos, your hoods, however you would like to classify them. They've been living in this harsh, unnoticed, forgotten about reality for so long. They've been working in jobs that are underpaid, and they are overworked, and they're not able to bring home the necessary financial gains to maintain and sustain a way of survival for themselves or even for their children. These are the places that don't have all of these the support services, the resources, the accommodations, like most middle class or affluent areas. And you even have some rural communities as well that are geographically located in a manner to where they are cut off from all of the support services and the resources and the accommodations that can sustain and maintain a healthy way of living on all fronts, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, from a nutrition perspective, from a fitness perspective. And so this is the type of crisis that's been going on for so long. Things like urban renewal and gentrification are real estate endeavors that cut off a culturally rich environment that was once deemed undesirable to live or to operate or to even have a business. And these places are being cut away from their social and their cultural identity for the love of money. And so what does that mean for the people? Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters, is what is the experience of the people? And the experience is that they are forced to move, or I should say relocate or migrate to somewhere else that's more affordable. And in these areas, depending on where they go, how far they travel away from their point of origin, this can either be an elevated type relocation, or this can be a relocation where they are in very unwelcoming circumstances. And I want to share a line with all of you. There's a lot of lines in here that really touch me, but in particular, it's a catastrophe traveling outside city limits for Whole Foods or organic stores. These communities that I'm referring to, they don't have the most healthy options. They can't go to a Trader Joe's or to an organic supermarket, go to a place just to get a salad and a sandwich. These places are infested with fast foods and fried foods and foods that are high in saturated fats. And also what I say in this poem is we all know what that leads to: diabetes and heart disease. So when you are cut off from resources and your work-life situation is unpleasant, and you are finding yourself in a situation where you are putting so much into making your circumstances and your conditions better, But there is not enough city government support to say, let's make our communities a little bit more whole. Let's reconstruct this to ensure that everyone has access to recreation, to fitness, to healthier food options, to knowledge and reading and learning, to mental health treatment, to substance abuse and alcohol use treatment. And when those things aren't being prioritized, or those things are thought or are considered inconsequential, then what happens is that the environment slowly takes the breath out of the most vulnerable person. And so scarcity in the city is to highlight the ongoing crisis and the tragedy that are going in these neglected urban and rural communities. Let's not forget that, even for those that live across the train tracks in gated communities or live in single to multi-level family homes with a 2 to 3 car garage and a fenced-in backyard and front yard. Not everyone has the privilege. Not everyone has the access. Not everyone has the resources to change their condition, especially when the condition that they are in has been manufactured by those with power, influence, and money who are discriminatory, who are bigots, who are racist, and who have an unchecked bias against culturally diverse and ethnic people. And for those who are on what they will call the lower end of the class spectrum. So this poem was all about sounding the alarm. Sounding the alarm regarding those who are struggling, who are in a constant, ongoing struggle from when they wake up, from when they leave their room, from when they leave their dwelling, when they go to work, coming back to work, and having to navigate through all these layers of inadequacy. I can only imagine that the people in these type of communities who have been cut off and who've been isolated due to urban renewal or a project of putting an interstate through a once thriving community, feeling that isolation is devastating. So I challenge all of you to think about those cities that are around you. And if you are actually in those cities, towns, communities, then this is for you. If you're not, just know that we all need to acknowledge the privilege, and also the plight. I want to leave you all with the quote of the day. And this quote of the day is an African proverb. In the moment of crisis, the wise build bridges, and the foolish build dams. Mm, 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 mm. Let that resonate with all of you. I want to say thank you for sharing this sacred, safe space with me. Thank you for trusting this platform and trusting me as a byproduct of being associated with this platform. I don't take that for granted. I am thankful and grateful for that. Show some love to the podcast. Show some love to the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast on wherever you listen. Send us a review. Connect with the podcast and myself on always_gracefully imperfect. Go to the link of the bio. Check out the website. The website has everything that I'm here to push and to educate. Use that link. It'll take you to the life coaching program. Check it out. Send me an email. Let me know if you want to know more about the life coaching program. If you want to know more about the creative projects. The projects to address the concerns of humanity. If you want to talk about the podcast, if you want to talk about the book, if you have a testimonial, if you have feedback, all that is welcomed. All that is needed. And the email is poeticsemantics7@gmail.com. Thank you. And I hope that this poem that I shared with all of you, that even if you don't agree with the context or some of the statements that were made, that you at least walk away with this, with the awareness that despite living in our own bubble and living within the way that we shape our world, whether it's external or internal, that there's someone out there who is trying to figure out how to build safety and security in their world. I appreciate the love. And I also want to say that I have the utmost gratitude for all of you staying throughout this podcast and for choosing the podcast. I can't wait to share the next episode with all of you. And I cannot wait to have another conversation with you where we can be our most vulnerable, emotional, and imperfect selves. So until then, peace, love, happiness, healthiness, and prosperity. Peace.